These sports cars combine modern performance with classic styling that goes back years. The craftsmanship is deeply ingrained in each one that's made, quite literally, because the car's wooden body frame is crafted by hand. The end product is filled up with heart and soul, and then petrol. The first models in the early 1900s were three-wheeled with motorcycle engines. It wasn't until the mid-1930s that these sports cars acquired a fourth wheel and a four-cylinder car engine. But one thing hasn't changed in more than a century: the wooden frame construction. In the factory's woodshop, workers glue together 6mm thick ash panels to produce a 3-ply lamination, which makes the frame's curved components. To make each wheel arch, they clamp a lamination into a rounded jig for a couple of hours. The glue dries, locking the curve in the wood. They make the frame's front section out of 3 solid pieces of ash. Triangular wood jigs align the frame, while workers screw in a solid ash rail on each side. These rails connect to back framing and form the bottom of the car's door openings. 2 vertical rails form the side of the openings on which the door will hinge. Using a spoke shave, workers craft each door frame so it fits perfectly in the openings they've just constructed. Then they mount the door frame with strong steel hinges. Next, they submerge the finished frame in wood preservative, giving the chemical plenty of time to thoroughly penetrate the pores of the wood. This will prevent the frame from rotting. Elsewhere in the factory, workers assemble the engine, gears and drive shaft to the car's galvanized steel chassis. Then mount the front and rear axles and wheels. They'll switch the brass wheel nuts for sleek chrome ones later. Now back to the bodywork. They cut an aluminium panel to the shape of the door frame, only wider around the edges. Clamp it onto the door frame and hammer down this door skin over the frame edge all around. They remove the clamps, then peel off the panel's protective covering. After paneling the rest of the wood frame in aluminium, they install the completed door, gently tapping the hinge pin in place. Now they lower the panel body onto the chassis. The only wooden parts not covered with metal are the tyre wells at the rear. Unlike the rest of the body frame, these are made of water-resistant plywood. The bonnet is actually 2 bonnets. To make each one, a craftsman feeds aluminium through rollers to curve it. Then he massages it over an old log that this factory's been using for this job since the 1930s. They put each panel through a press that cuts louver holes. In the old days, the purpose of louvers was to ventilate and cool the engine. Today, they just bring style. The 2 finished bonnet panels go on either side of a central hinge, forming a bonnet that opens like butterfly wings. The body gets a paint job. They then trim the car's interior with leather, cutting and stitching every piece by hand and fixing it to the wood frame. They make door seals by wrapping leather around rubber tubing. And finally, they fit the wings, now painted, over the front and back wheels. The front wings have shells which house the car's headlights. Workers install the radiator at the front and top it with a cover called a cowl. Then the dashboard, complete with instruments, the gear stick, windscreen, mirrors, and of course the steering wheel. They also attach the soft top, handcrafted from either vinyl or mohair, to a tubular frame. After installing the leather trim seats, they take the car out for a test drive, after which it undergoes a meticulous inspection inside and out. Finally, after a wax and polish, this fancy fusion of technology and tradition gets the green light.